Here's a few thoughts on managing images in SysNet so that we can use them in building Insight Maker models so that the images don't end up getting broken over time. So if I'm this is a model that I put together about the process of actually developing the images in a model and managing the entry or creation of them into SysNet itself. So if I'm going to create a model, the first thing I do is I go look in SysNet to find out if there's an image there that that serves the purpose of what I want for the model. If there is, I go ahead and I get the URL from there, and I use that URL for the image. If there isn't, then I go locate a new image, go to Google and search and use the images. And once I find an image that I like, I go ahead and use that image in the model that I'm developing, knowing that I'm going to have to replace it later because it's a URL to an image somewhere else out on the net as opposed to in SysNet itself. So I continue this until I finish developing my model, and some of the images in my model are referenced out of SysNet, and some of them are out on the web someplace that I've used because the intent is to build the model and then clean up the images afterwards so that they're not going to get broken. So once I've finished developing the model, then I need to go into this update SysNet images process where I locate the image in my model. I get the URL that's pointing to someplace out on the net. I get a copy of that image and I resize it in Snagit or something else so that it's small. It's a small image, so it'll load quickly, and the size that I've been using, I've been resizing so that the maximum width or height is 200 pixels. That seems to work well and create images that are 50K or less. I then create an image thought in SysNet, affix that original URL to that thought. So I have a pointer to where I got the image from to begin with. I take the resized image and I paste it in the note field for the thought. And then I paste that image in also as the thought icon. So it's easy to just mouse over and look at the different images to see what they are. And I repeat this cycle until I've worked through all of the images that I used in the model that weren't in SysNet to begin with. So once I've finished that, I go ahead and I sync SysNet with the web version, and then I go and fix up all of the images that are in my model by actually replacing the links to external sources someplace by links to the images that I've now put into SysNet. Now this seems like a long involved process, and initially it is, though within a day or so there will be a couple of hundred images in SysNet, and the majority of the time one will be able to find an image in SysNet that serves the purpose as opposed to having to go through this second and third portion of the process. So when you look at SysNet, because of the way that we've coded them, you type in img, they're all in there as image : and some description of what the image is, and you can search for them using instant index. So if I search for bank, well, I got to spell image right. IMA bank. It tells me that there are two images in there. There's one of a bank and one of a savings account. And if I look at this one, there's the image, and I can come down here and just right click on this and copy the URL and go put that in my model. Now, as to how the images ended up here in SysNet to begin with, when you find URLs out on the web someplace for an image that you want to use, you want to make sure it's a reasonable URL pointing to an image as opposed to some Google redirect that's long and involved and doesn't actually point to the right image. And one thing that I find useful very often is if I find one of those crazy URLs that I don't want to use, I can right-click here, do a Google image search, and it will tell me whether or not there are additional images of that same image in different places that I can go and grab one and say, okay, let me find a small one here. Boy, they're all pretty big. All right, I'm going to shrink it anyway. So I'll just find this one, go find the original, and it's a reasonable image, so I can go ahead and copy this and take it to Snagit and resize it. And then once that I actually end up putting this into the brain itself, I go ahead and create a new thought node, paste that URL into the thought, copy the image from Snagit and paste it into the nodes portion, and also paste it in as a thought icon so that when I mouse over these, either in SysNet or in the web version, the images will pop up so I can scan across and look at them. It makes it quite easy. The other portion is, I said that I'm doing the resizing in Snagit. Where is Snagit? Oh, Snagit won't come up because Snagit is actually running at the moment, recording this video, so that it won't it won't open. But I go ahead and paste the icon into Snagit and resize it so that the maximum size, width, or height is 200, and I keep the aspect ratio so that it shrinks it proportionately. And so the process seems to be working quite well at the moment. Hopefully within another day or so, I will go back through and add notes to each one of the icons that are here in the model to make it a bit more explanatory. But this is the way that it's falling out at the moment. So they're all stored under style under SysNet images. The style images are all the ones that I'm doing, and the HFILE are the ones that Jeff McDonald is doing, and he'll be adding some very soon. So hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you in another video soon. Bye.